What up, Entourage? So today we are going to take it back and we're going to go over free agent signings. Yes, I know you guys probably realize I've been on a little bit of a hiatus. I fell in love with crypto and was really into that over the off season. But as you guys know, I might not always be there when you call, but I'm always on time. And we're getting into peak fantasy football season. And by the way, because I've been in crypto, I've created a fantasy football token. Make sure that you click on the link. I'm going to put it in the description to find out more. That's going to be kicking off next Tuesday. Well, guys, let's get into free agent signings and what they all mean. We're going to do this in alphabetical order, beginning with the Arizona Cardinals. So they signed AJ Green and JJ Watt. I think JJ Watt is going to have more of an impact than AJ Green. AJ Green looked all but washed last year, and we saw in the Cardinals offense, it was all about DeAndre Hopkins. So I don't look at AJ Green as somebody worth drafting in any format, but he is a name, so I wanted to mention him and don't draft him. JJ Watt, on the other hand, and usually I'm not going to mention many defensive players, but Arizona was a borderline top 10 defense last year. I think the addition of JJ Watts and their draft picks are going to propel Arizona into being a much improved defense, and one that could be fantasy relevant this year. So I do believe, unlike AJ Green, that JJ Watt has something left in the tank. For the Atlanta Falcons, their big free agent signing was Mike Davis. I thought that made a lot of sense, especially since they didn't draft a running back. Thing I noticed about Mike Davis, now a lot of people will say, well, Atlanta doesn't really use their running back, but remember, they're bringing in a whole new regime. They have Arthur Smith there. That was Derrick Henry's offensive coordinator. So this could be a good situation for Mike Davis. He is a pass catcher, but we just have to see how much he's going to be on the field if Atlanta is down. I also don't like the fact that he fell off quite a bit at the end of last year, pretty much like from the half point on. And it might be because he's been a career backup, or he just ran out of fuel. So Mike Davis, I think, could be a solid RB2 with upside, somewhere around the 5th round, 6th round, if you're lucky. Is not terrible value for Mike Davis, especially if you go early wide receivers, which I typically don't recommend, but some of you do, so you might be stuck with Mike Davis as your RB2. Definitely wouldn't want him as your RB1. Key departure for the Falcons is obviously Gurley. That guy's all but done as well. A lot of these players that you're going to hear me talk about are pretty much done. Good players rarely switch teams. Baltimore signed Sammy Watkins. Nothing to see here. Besides being injury prone, I don't want any Ravens receivers. Lamar Jackson has yet to prove he can make a really fantasy relevant wide receiver, at least on a consistent basis. Mark Ingram, another player that's washed. He's in Houston, where all the running backs seem to go. That place is a mess. Buffalo signed Matt Breida. Only mentioning him because he has been fantasy relevant at one point, but we saw last year Dolphins didn't really have much at running back. He couldn't even cut into guys playing time like Myles Gaskin or Ahmad. So nothing to see there either. Manuel Sanders, another wash player. So I'm going to be Diggs, and Diggs some more. They also got Cole Beasley. We'll see what happens. It appears he doesn't want to get vaccinated. I don't blame him. But even then, so I still like Gabriel Davis more. So I don't think he's going to be relevant. And then he replaces John Brown. Panthers, big addition for them is Sam Darnold. I do think this is going to be quite an upgrade for all the receivers. I don't know for Robbie Anderson, because it's kind of hard to top what he did last year. That was his best year, but definitely DJ Moore. He's going to be playing more of a slot. So love the signing of Darnold. Obviously, he replaces Teddy Bridgewater. And then they got rid of Curtis Samuel, which is why I believe you'll see a lot more of DJ Moore in the slot, rather than their rookie that they drafted, Terrence Marshall, who they said is going to be playing outside. Probably see some of Robbie Anderson in the slot as well, but I like DJ Moore better. Chicago signed Dalton. huge upgrade. Dalton's not the best, but he's been to the Pro Bowl. He's also made, receivers like AJ Green very fantasy relevant. So I think that's a big upgrade for Allen Robinson as well as Darnell Mooney. They signed Damian Williams. I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have with David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen there, but he has been fantasy relevant, which is why I mentioned him. But they did lose some players on defense, or at least their main quarter, Kyle Fuller. Trufant, a lot of people think it's not a bad replacement, but he can't stay on the field. So we'll see how that move affects the Chicago Bears. The Bengals lost defensive player Geno Atkins. That defense is going to be a mess. They're going to be in a lot of shootouts, which is why I'm all in on the Bengals offense. The Browns signed Jadeveon Clowney. Their defense is already good. If he could even do half what he's done in the past, it should be an upgrade. That should be a sleeper fantasy defense. Cowboys didn't really sign anyone, didn't really lose anyone. Broncos, I believe Teddy Bridgewater will be their quarterback rather than Drew Lock, and I believe he'll do a better job of getting the receivers the ball. So it could be a upgrade for Cortland Sutton as well as Jerry Jeudy. It'll be interesting what happens to Tim Patrick, who finished off the year last year, and I absolutely love Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant can really take that big leap this year. So he's somebody I would be targeting around the 9th round. The Lions downgraded quarterback. They replaced Matt Stafford with Goff. So I don't like Goff. I don't see him as a fantasy relevant quarterback, especially with the Lions. They have nobody. They lost Galladay, they lost Stafford. That team's a mess. Perryman's nobody. Tyrell Williams. It's not looking pretty. And then they lost Kerryon Johnson. Again, not a real loss there, but he is a name. He was relevant at one point, even if it was short-lived. The Packers got rid of Jamal Williams, who, where's Jamal Williams now? He will be with actually with the Detroit Lions. So he might be somebody that, is worth cuffing DeAndre Swift if he can't stay healthy. Texans signed Lindsey and Ingram. I don't think Ingram will be relevant. I think Lindsey's their best running back. I think by the end of the year, he should get that job. David Johnson, he had a couple good games, but I don't have faith in him. They lost Will Fuller. So he's with the Dolphins now. Did I mention the Dolphins? We haven't got there yet. Next up is the Colts. They lost their left tackle, Castanzo. I don't know if I butchered his name. They got Eric Fisher, but I'm not sure Eric Fisher is going to be back for a little bit. So it could be a wash, but they might, be a little weak at that left tackle's position. The Jaguars signed Carlos Hyde. Whoop-de-doo. Chiefs got Jerick McKinnon. He'll probably have one good game, as he does every year. And then they got here, who else did they sign? I put Brown. Who's Brown? Did they sign John Brown? I don't know. I guess they signed John Brown. I was just looking at my notes. I just put Brown. Okay, moving right along. Las Vegas, they got Casey Hayward. Be interesting to see how much he has left in the tank. Didn't have his best year last year with the Chargers. Tyrell Williams is their departure. He was never healthy. Chargers lost Hunter Henry, who's now with the Patriots, but they replaced him with Jared Cook, so not a bad replacement there. LA Rams, their big signing was Matt Stafford. I think that's going to be a huge boost for the entire offense, including Cam Akers, and obviously receivers Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and my sleeper, Van Jefferson. Djax, again, like McKinnon, he'll be good for like one game. Miami Dolphins got Will Fuller. I don't know how much I like Will Fuller's prospects between him being always injured and I'm not really sold on Tua, so I don't think that was the best use of money for the Dolphins, and then drafting Jalen Waddle where they did, so not really feeling that too much. The Vikings got Patrick Peterson. Interesting to see if he has anything left in the tank. Him and Justin Jefferson been going at it. They lost Kyle Rudolph. They got Irv Smith, so not too much there. And they lost their left tackle, Riley Reef, and replaced him with their rookie. So we'll see how that affects their run game and Kirk Cousins' blindside. Patriots got Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Sounds to me like a nightmare. This isn't going to be a Gronk and Hernandez reincarnation because Brady's not the quarterback. Cam Newton's days are numbered. Matt Jones, I don't know. I see him more as a potential game manager. I don't think he's going to be much better than what we've seen out of the Patriots' recent quarterbacks. So I'm not sold on him, and therefore I'm not sold on Hunter Henry or John Smith either. They got Nelson Aguilar. I really don't want any part of the Patriots offense. That includes Damian Harris, who I think is going to be soon be labeled injury prone if he's not already. Saints, they just have really some departures. Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook. I like Trotman to step up and do some big things. And then Kwon Alexander. I think Kwon Alexander is going to hurt that defense. They were much better with him in the lineup and very mediocre. So Saints aren't a fantasy defense that I'll be looking to draft, even though they've been pretty good the last 2 years. New York Giants, Golladay and Rudolph. Rudolph could be a big signing because Evan Ingram, he's had his share of injury woes. Kenny Golladay, I love his talent, but I'm not sure being on that Giants offense, they'll be able to take advantage fully of that. He's another one. He's been kind of banged up, draws a lot of contact. So I'm not really feeling him. He'd have to drop significantly for me to look at him. But I mean, even in the 4th or 5th round, there's players that I like more than Kenny Golladay. New York Giants signed Tevin Coleman. He's familiar with, the LaFleur, Shanahan zone blocking scheme. So makes sense, even though I think Michael Carter will be the main guy there. And then they signed Corey Davis. Could be a bit of a sleeper because I do like Zach Wilson. And then and they signed Keenan Cole, but he's probably like a 4th or 5th receiver, not really worth mentioning. The Eagles got Kerryon Johnson, nothing more than a name, and then they lost Wentz and Djax, but I really, really love Jalen Hurts, so I don't think there's too much love lost there. Pittsburgh, they lost Pouncey, he retired, and they lost their top corner, so it's their center and the top corner could be significant. I think Pittsburgh was rated as one of the worst offensive lines, and they didn't really do anything to address it, which is why I like Najee Harris, but I'm not as high on Najee Harris as some of these other owners because that offensive line leaves a lot to be desired, so he's going to have to get a lot of receptions. San Francisco got Wayne Gallman. We don't know if he's going to make the team because they got like 800 running backs, but Jeff Wilson's injured. Moss starts to starter. Trayman Sermon looks to be next in line, so we'll see if he could beat out Hasty or I doubt Elijah Mitchell since they just drafted him. Definitely not Sermon, so we'll see what happens with Wayne Gallman. Seattle didn't really do nothing in the offseason. Tampa Bay, we've been hearing a lot about, everybody's worried about Leonard Fournette and or Ronald Jones, and they're saying Giovanni Bernard just signed there, and they still got Vaughn. I don't think Giovanni is going to be anything more than a backup. Most teams only run 2 running backs, so Fournette and Ronald Jones, but people seem to be worried. I think Fournette's I saw him go, I think, like the 8th or 9th round in the league, which I think is really, really good value, especially where he left off or where he last finished the season in the playoffs, how he looked. Playoff Lenny. Tennessee traded for Julio Jones, so not quite a free agent signing, but obviously that's a big upgrade. They lost Corey Davis, so as long as Julio stays healthy, he should be able to put up decent numbers. But, Ryan Tannehill doesn't seem to force feed any one receiver. Even A.J. Brown didn't really have that many targets. He likes to spread the ball around. But they really don't have much in Tennessee. So they got rid of John Smith. And they got, A.J. Brown. They can't all go to him. Even though they're running team, Julio Jones should be a pretty, good receiver there as long as he can stay healthy because he is 32. And we saw last year he didn't. And then Team Washington, big upgrade at quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick, say what you want. He makes teams better. He makes receivers better. I love Terry McLaurin. I think, Curtis Samuel could be flirting with low wide receiver 3 numbers as well. Big upgrade for Antonio Gibson. So just all around the board, gotta love Fitz and Curtis Samuel. That was a pretty good signing. So, takes off the pressure of Terry McLaurin. You got Logan Thomas, who had a big year last year. And I mentioned Antonio Gibson, and then J.D. McKissick's also pretty good pass catching back as well. So love the Fitzpatrick signing. So like always, guys, if you have any questions, comment down below. Sorry about the hiatus, but again, I was creating this community token for us. I want to bring the fantasy football community under one token, under one umbrella, and we're going to be doing some exciting things. So make sure you check that out. Join me on the Telegram. It's Huddle Up, I believe, and I'll have the links and everything. Until next time, peace. I'm out.